Hi guys, I've got a lovely little haul for you here. These are all affordable perfumes, most of which you can get on the grey market for even more affordable than they are full price. So let's start with one that's very unusual for me because I am not really a Zara perfume kind of lady. I don't normally get on with the kinds of aroma chemicals that they put in their general ranges, but when it's like a Joe Loves collab or Joe Malone, the old Joe Malone collabs, or certain collaborations with famous perfumers, I seem to have less of an issue with the aroma chemicals in here. So I smelt this one in store and I had this weird feeling of being a feeling like this smells very unique while also feeling like I have a perfume that smells like this. So I was like, I'm gonna have to buy this one, try it out and think more about it. By the way, sorry if you can hear a bit of fan noise, it's very hot again today when I'm making this. So anyway, I wanted to bring this home. This is a Mochi Atelier in Tokyo. This is a re-release of one that came out quite some time ago. It's also a what's it called, a patisserie in Paris or something as well. So this is by Fabrice Pellegrin, and it doesn't have the notes in here. It just kind of talks. Oh, it does. It says pear, rice, and sandalwood. But I mean, I'm here to tell you, I'm absolutely sure there's far more in this perfume than those three notes. So this is the bottle, a classic Zara bottle, and it's got this kind of cute wooden cap. So this is one, when you first spray it, you do get a lot of the pear. It's very sweet, it's very sugary, and there is a kind of glutinous rice smell. So it doesn't actually smell like rice in the traditional sense. And I have had some perfumes with rice, and I have smelt some perfumes with rice, and I often find that the general rice note smells a little bit dirty to me, kind of a little bit musty. This isn't that. This smells like a mochi skin in terms of it smells like it's made with rice, but there's like powdered sugar and it's sweet, and it doesn't literally smell like rice. It's very sweet, and I'd say there's vanilla in here. Does it say vanilla? Doesn't. Well, it says sandalwood, but I'm pretty sure there's vanilla as well. And I would be willing to bet that there's florals in here. And it's quite interesting. This is a weird smell. It's got the notes listed. I feel like there's green florals here. Greens and florals, and it gets sweeter and sweeter as it dries down. It's got a tiny bit of a kind of slightly creamy feel about it, but it never loses the slight pear, although that's very loud in the beginning, but it then... Now, you are going to think I sound insane. But once I had this on my skin and I was at home and I was thinking about it and I was like, what is this? What does it remind me of? It was driving me slightly insane. And I was looking through what I had and I was like, it's not actually something that I have a bottle of, but what is this? I know the smell. And I honestly don't know why, but this really reminds me of Guerlain's Angelique Noir. So I don't know if there's Angelica in this. I don't know what notes are being hidden, but there's something more going on here. If I go and have a look actually at Fragrantica, yeah, they've only got the version from 2020. With the Joe Loves collaborations, they have new versions out and they have a different set of notes to the other ones, even though I'm pretty sure they probably have both sets of notes, what they told us the first time and what they're telling us this year. And this, I would be really interested to know what else is in here, because I think I'm the only person who has made this connection, which, I mean, it might suggest that my nose is well off and I'm absolutely insane here. Oh wait, let me just click. No, two people have said that this smells a bit like Angelique Noir. Now, I really like Angelique Noir. It is a very expensive perfume. To me, it's a green Angelica pear and vanilla scent. It also has, let's have a look at the notes. Angelica pear, pink pepper, jasmine caraway, base notes, Angelica, vanilla and cedar. Now, if you told me that this was the same notes minus the cedar but adding in a mochi skin, I'd totally believe you. it really reminds me of that. And so I'm happy to have this, literally just because I feel like I would be able to wear this in place of Angelique Noir, which I only have a sample of because it is so expensive. So yeah, I think this is a really good little buy. I think it's still supposed to be limited edition, which is very silly because I feel like it's probably very popular. But yeah, so if they still have this on their website or in store, I actually recommend this one. I think it's pretty good. It's less than 20 quid, and it's 100 ml. And I have to say, the sweetness lasts for quite a long time. I could smell this on my skin for a long time. This one is relatively strong, as it is an eau de parfum. So yeah, I think this one's actually really good value, and I think it's really nice. But yeah, let me know if you smelt this and if you think I'm insane. But yeah, I'm getting Angelique Noir from it. But yeah, so that's a Mochi Atelier in Tokyo from Zara. Next up, we have two big boys I'm going to have to reposition for. These are from Victorinox. Now, I think RRP, these are something like £65 for 100 ml, but you can normally get these for around 20-25. Because these are tester bottles, I got them for a tenner each. So it's always worth Googling. That's what I always do. If you put in your country, wherever you live, and then you put in tester perfumes, then if you have any websites that sell to your country, then you'll probably be able to find it. That's how I found these. So let me take these out and then you'll be able to have a better look. So here they are. This is For Her, which is now called Ginger Lily, and one that's called Apricot Rose. So I have not worn a huge amount of these, but as you can see, this one leaked a little bit, so it's a little bit all over the place. But I'll start with Ginger Lily purely because I think that one is on Fragrantica. It is actually listed, and even though I have put it in the forum ages ago to put this on, this still hasn't turned up on Fragrantica. I honestly don't know how they decide what goes up and what doesn't. It's very strange. But anyway, this particular perfume, Ginger Lily, this is just listed as Victorinox Swiss Army For Her on Fragrantica, because I think that's what it was called. I think this is probably the first perfume that they released. So let's spray this out and have a little snifter. This is a very soft, spicy, floral perfume. It doesn't list any fruits, but I'd say, and I mean, it could all be coming from the ginger, this kind of juicy, fruity smell, but I feel like there's some citruses in here. There's ginger in the top, the mid notes are lily of the valley and peony, and the base notes are musk and woody notes. Now, I have had 3 perfumes from Victorinox. I really thought they were all excellent. One of them I gave to a friend because it smells so similar. I think it's called Morning Dew or something. That smelt very similar to Sport Water for Women by Jill Sanders, which is a perfume that I love, and I have a bottle and I have a backup of it, so I didn't need to keep a 100ml bottle of that one, but I do think it's lovely. It's like a fresh, slightly aquatic, woody scent. But I did keep Forget Me Not, which is a beautiful kind of gentle, sheer but quite strong floral, perfect for spring, kind of smells like you've just washed your body and hair with a beautiful fruity floral. And I kept First Snow, which is a really interesting eucalyptus tonka bean perfume with a little bit of vanilla. So it's like this kind of, I mean, some people call it like a green vanilla. I think it's more of a green tonka, but it's sweet, but it's fresh. It's a really interesting perfume. So I thought these might also be really interesting, but I have to say, I don't find either of these very interesting. I think they are less interesting, a bit plainer, and not as nice as the ones in the, like the newer ones that are in the smaller bottles. So you get a lot of the florals here. You've got peony, lily of the valley. You're definitely getting the musk. You can smell the ginger, and there is a bit of wood. So everything that they've said is here. I'd say if you add in then a little bit of some kind of citrus, maybe a bergamot or something, and it smells like light 90s perfumes, things like Pleasures, Tommy Girl, all that kind of thing. In fact, if I look at the top comparison to this is Tea Girl from Tommy Hilfiger. That's one I never smell. I don't know what that smells like. It has bergamot and mandarin orange at the top. It's got rose, narcissus and lily, so it's got different florals, but quite a few people have said this smells like that. So if you like that kind of thing, then maybe Ginger Lily will be for you. But I don't love this one personally. It's not really one that I feel like I would reach for, especially when I have the other Victorinox floral that I much prefer. So Apricot Rose, this guy here, let's spray this one out. This one, I like the idea of apricot and rose. I'm not a massive fan of rose perfumes generally speaking, but I thought the idea of it being with apricot sounded intriguing. As I said, this one is not on Fragrantica, so I shall read directly from the Victorinox website. So we have top note of grapefruit and clary sage, middle notes of Victorinox garden rose accord and apricot accord, then the base notes are wild raspberry and musk. But interestingly, this one has a dry down that I find to be a little bit like a bitter wood. Like it's got a kind of, it's not quite tarry, but there's something here. I mean, it could be the sage, but I don't know. There's something in here that I'm not loving. I do get a sense of raspberry, but it's very kind of sharp. It's not a sweetened, syrupy raspberry. It's fresher. It is kind of garden rose-like. The apricot, I don't think is... Again, it's not particularly sweetened. It's quite sheer. This is quite almost aquatic again in its nature. And the grapefruit accord is quite strong, but... It doesn't list any kind of wood, but I'd say this one dries down to smelling almost a little bit tarry to me, which I get with some aroma chemicals that tend to be like fixants or maybe like things like amberwood, all that kind of thing. So I'm not really keen on this one. I think like wearing them, I prefer Ginger Lily, but I found both of these kind of a little bit like, they're okay. If I didn't have such a big collection, I'd probably be more excited by these. But I think if you have a really big collection of perfumes, then neither of these are particularly exciting, but they're really kind of good everyday, like perfect office perfumes. They're kind of light and they wouldn't impose too much on other people. But myself, I don't love these, so I don't think that these will be staying with me. I just don't think they're quite for me. But because they're a bit leaky, I'm probably going to have to give them away rather than sell them. So that's Apricot Rose and Ginger Lily from Victorinox. So let's get on to some stuff that I really do like. Now these are back at the Body Shop as limited editions, I believe, which is such a shame. But we have a few here. So we've got Satsuma and Mango. And then I also picked up, what's this one? Refreshing Passionfruit. And I got Tender Tonka. Let's do Mango and Satsuma first, because those are classic perfumes from the Body Shop. They used to really be eau de toilettes, and now you can only get them as body mists. And again, I don't know how long they're going to be available for, which is such a massive shame, because I mean, it's also such a shame that these are body sprays, because they're wonderful. So let's start with Satsuma. I don't believe that they give you any extra notes for these. I think it literally is just like, I think it's just going to say Satsuma. I don't think there's going to be anything else. No. So if I spray this, now these are body mists, they're not very long lasting, but for summer they're so joyous. So Satsuma, oh truly it just smells like a Satsuma when you first spray it. It's juicy, it's tasty, it's yummy, it's just so lovely. It's really nice. But the longer you wear this, the more I think you get a kind of soapy quality from it. So there's definitely not only Satsuma going on here, there's definitely something else happening. Just doing a bit of readjusting here, guys. So what was I saying about Satsuma? Oh yeah, it's really lovely. It has a feel of fuzzy peach. Not because it smells like peach, but because fuzzy peach I think dried down to have a soapy quality to it. which is kind of cozy and yummy and nice. It's not like too shampooey, it's not screechy in any way, but it doesn't feel like it's just a fruit. It feels like it's a kind of a hand soap version or something, or like a shower gel. That's what this smells like once it dries down, which generally to me would suggest that there's some kind of floral here. There's probably something like orange blossomy or something like that in this perfume, because that always smells like soap to me. But when it opens, it's juicy, it's delicious. I wasn't sure how much I would enjoy this one once it turned soapy. I didn't like it as much, but when I have given it a full wear test, I actually really enjoyed wearing it. I found it comforting, and that might partially be because of that soapiness, because even in hot weather, I used to use Fuzzy Peach when I was a kid, so I think there's something about that kind of body shop body wash, like really specific smell, that I just found really cozy and comforting and really nice, even though it was very hot. And then Mango, well, this is a winner. This one is pure fruit. This is not soapy at all. It doesn't smell like a body wash. It just smells like absolutely scrumptious mango. It truly smells like I've just squeezed a mango. It has a hint of mango skin, a hint of that green feel, but barely any, and it's not too syrupy sweet. It's juicy, it's fresh, it has a kind of almost citrusy feel to it, because it's retained that tangy feel that you get with a good mango. It's not like one of the kind of mangoes that's shriveled up. It's like one of the big green skinned where it just starts to go a little bit red in areas, you know. It's one of those, like the one that's really hard to cut and really hard to chop up, and when you try to cut into it, the juice just goes everywhere. That's exactly what it smells like. I truly wish that this lasted longer, because I love it and I think it's so delicious. And in fact, now that I've sprayed it on myself, I am about to completely spray this all over myself once I finish this video. But I just think mango is such a good one. I think the Body Shop should bring it back permanently, and I truly think they need to bring it back in eau de toilette form. If they could do an eau de parfum without adding anything that makes it like aroma chemically and ruins it, or any like strong base notes, I truly would be buying it as an eau de parfum, and I would pay 40 quid for it happily. But these I think are about £12, and they're both really, really lovely. So that's Mango and Satsuma. So this is a bit of a strange one, because Refreshing Passionfruit, you might be able to see the liquid in here is kind of a bit oily. It's not as thin. It doesn't feel like an eau de toilette. It's a body mist. It says for normal to dry skin. So I think this is supposed to actually be a scented body oil kind of feel. I'm going to put a little bit on. Yeah, it's like, if you can see, it kind of sits on the skin and then you rub it in, and it definitely has, I mean, oily is not, it's not oily, it's like a water based one. That's what it feels like. So it's got a thickness to it, but it doesn't leave any oily residue. And Refreshing Passionfruit, yeah, it smells like passion fruit. It's really delicious, absolutely delicious. It's not as tangy and tart as an actual natural passion fruit. There is a little bit of tanginess there, but obviously passion fruit can be very, very, very sharp, quite acidic, have a real citrusy feel to it, even more so than mango. But this kind of is a little bit of a sugared passion fruit. It's not like super syrupy the way it would be in some perfumes where they kind of turn into some kind of fruity cocktail smell. But this one is definitely a little bit sweeter than the natural passion fruit. I'm not entirely sure how feasible it would be to wear this one, like, you know, just as a scent. I feel like this is one you'd want to just put on maybe on a hot day, kind of a real basic moisturizer, or like a layering scent maybe. It might be nice. Like I could probably put this on underneath Satsuma or Mango and I think it would smell really nice. But yeah, in terms of actually being a body spray, this one I wouldn't spray it anywhere near my clothes for sure, because I don't really know why this is kind of thick. But yeah, I mean, I think it smells absolutely delicious, but it's not the most effective in terms of being a delicious smelling body spray. But definitely a lovely passion fruit smelling like body care, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I really like it. I'm glad to have it, but yeah, it's not really one I think I'm going to think of as a perfume, I don't think, but it's really nice. And then last from the Body Shop, we have Tender Tonka. This is a new perfume for the Body Shop. I think they have it as an eau de toilette, or maybe even an eau de parfum and a body mist. I think they have this in a few different variations. So the notes in Tender Tonka are hawthorn, incense and pepper in the top, mid notes of vanilla orchid and rock rose, base notes of tonka bean, cedar and suede. And this one is not for me. This has it's almost like this is sort of the Body Shop's interpretation of something like Baby Cat. It's like their version of something like that. It's not as vanillic because it is more tonka forward, but it's also a little bit, it's really got a lot of that aroma chemical in that smells like tar to me. I'm sure that's some kind of vegan formulation of something because it's in loads of vegan perfumes. In fact, it's just in nearly all perfumes nowadays, honestly. It's rare for me to find a perfume that doesn't smell like tar. But yeah, I got a hint of this smell in the flower perfumes that the Body Shop brought out a while back. I think it's like full Ylang Ylang had quite a lot of tarry aroma chemical in it. I can't remember if the Iris one did, but I know some of the others in that range, the full flower range, they smelled really, really not good to me. But I feel like if you can't smell that aroma chemical, then this might be quite nice for you. I think it's been compared to Turmeric Latte from Lush, and I kind of see what they mean because it does kind of smell like a bonfire, but this smells like a chemically bonfire to me. So Turmeric Latte I think is a little bit sweeter, more vanillic, and it doesn't smell like chemicals, but it does smell like a bonfire. This one is less vanilla and more spices, loads of tonka, and yeah, and the smokiness here I feel like to me is smelling like burnt wood and burnt rubber, like rubber on fire, which I don't think is what they're going for. I think there is just an aroma chemical in here. So this is one that I really, really don't like. And if you're as sensitive to me as a certain aroma chemical, I would say really avoid this one. If you don't have a problem with that aroma chemical, which most people seem not to because it's in so many things, then you're probably going to be fine with this. But this was a bit of a disappointment to me. This is not one that I would ever be able to wear. So that's Tender Tonka from the Body Shop. Happily I have Turmeric Latte, so I don't need to worry about it anyway because that one's amazing. That's my bonfire of choice. And then last up we have two scents from Korres. So I'm going to start with this one. This is Relaxing Lavender. This is a scent calming mist. I think it's designed to be sprayed literally hair, body, clothing, bedding. I am still trying to work out how I feel about this. The only note that's listed on Fragrantica for Relaxing Lavender from Korres is lavender. But I don't really believe that. I don't think this just smells like lavender at all. If I have a look... Okay, so if we read a little bit more about it, it says ginger extract stimulates the skin, gives it energy. Aloe, popular moisturising ingredient, offers a unique cooling sensation. And then it talks about lavender. So I don't know about this one. It's very sweet in an unexplained way. And it almost smells like there's something like sage or honey or that kind of thing. Maybe both. It doesn't smell purely like lavender. There is definitely an aromatherapy feel when you first spray it, but the more it dries down, the more it gets really quite sweet and quite unusual. So I'm still trying to work out how I feel about this, whether it's one that I mean, I don't know that I love this on my skin so much, but I also need to find out whether it's one that I would prefer on bedding and clothing. I'm thinking about it at the moment, so we shall see what happens with this. But Relaxing Lavender, I don't love it, I don't hate it, but yeah, from Korres. This was, I think, from Notino, so it was really affordable. And yeah, yeah, it's an interesting one. Doesn't entirely smell like lavender, but I can't quite put my finger on everything else that's going on here. And then we have, last up on the list is another Korres, and this is an eau de parfum. All of the Korres perfumes I have and have had are all eau de toilettes, but they do have a few eau de parfums, and this is one of them. This is Aegean Bronze. Really lovely. So they have notes here, which is really helpful. So the eau de parfum of this one anyway comes in a white bottle. It's slightly chipped. I managed to get this one from Amazon for a good price during the Prime thingy, the Prime Day deal. I think I got it for about £30 for a 50ml. This little guy. So the notes in Aegean Bronze are top notes of cedrat and bergamot, heart notes of freesia, burnt sugar and frangipani, base notes of sandalwood, vanilla and musk. So this is a perfume that has been compared to, let's have a look, what's it compared to here? Tom Ford Soleil Blanc, Sun de Joya, Alien Goddess, I think that is, the beachy one of the Zadig and Voltaire's, the Gucci Gorgeous Orchid, I think that is the banana-y vanilla one. Yeah, a bunch of kind of beachy vanillas. And this is interesting because I don't know about this. Like, I thought maybe Korres was going to be able to nail the whole beachy floral without it being like a lotion, because there's no coconut in this. But I'm kind of getting Britney Spears fantasy from this perfume. It's definitely not a shampoo-y, but it's got like, I find the sweetness here to be maybe a little bit more cloying than I would like. It does have a creamy sweetness. It doesn't entirely smell. It has a little tiny bit of a beachy lotion smell, but it doesn't go full suntan lotion for sure. There's definitely, I mean, I almost feel like coconut would help this a little bit. I feel like it's not smelling particularly interesting to me, this one. I thought that it might do because it's got that interesting burnt sugar, which I think might be a similar note to what they have in their black sugar perfume, which I have. That one smells like very similar to Prada Candy. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people really like this one. It's quite hot at the moment, so this isn't necessarily the kind of thing that I would be wearing, but I really do think that this reminds me a little bit of fantasy, which means it also reminds me a little bit of Yum Pistachio. What's it called? Yum Pistachio Gelato, I think it's called, from Kayali. Yeah, it's almost as if you took the pistachio and some of the other extra notes out of that, and it's kind of had its base notes, and you would get something like this. And I honestly think that Yum Pistachio Gelato dries down to smell a bit like fantasy. And whenever I smell people wearing that perfume, I think they are wearing fantasy. That's what I always assume. But yeah, I'm not sure about this one yet either. This is a maybe for me. I need to test this out and work it out. But I mean, there's a lot of things here. There was one that wasn't a blind buy, and then everything else was a blind buy. But I'm really impressed with the Mochi Atelier from Zara, and I love 3 of the Body Shop ones as well. So the Korres are both kind of question marks right now, and the 2 Victorinox are just not for me. But it was really fun to try them. This is really a fun one to try. If you like things like fantasy, if you like things like Yum Pistachio Gelato, if you like sweet, tasty, slightly creamy, slightly vanillic perfumes that you can wear in slightly warmer weather that don't have really heavy, woody or patchouli bases, this one might be for you. I think it's much more manageable than Alien Goddess and Alien Goddess Absolute, which I find very strong and overwhelming. This one I think is a little bit more manageable, but yeah, I still don't know if this one's for me or not, but there you go. So that's Aegean Bronze from Korres. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another one because I've got another little batch here to talk about. Okay, bye guys.